It's kind of crazy how fast you feel your currency fade. So I'm going to do my best here. But there's nobody watching except for you guys. I feel really rusty. I hope you're not judging.
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line.
Hello aviators, welcome back. So it is a beautiful rainy day here in Nevada County and we are going to take all the water we can get. But it did get me thinking about a recent flight I did on a beautiful fall day where I'm going out to maintain currency and proficiency in the Cessna 310. And for me, so much about maintaining currency and proficiency is about adhering to a very standard ritual that I perform in pretty much every airplane I fly. But as I'm looking back on this particular flight, and if you guys want to see the full flight, the entire 3-landing hour-long proficiency flight, that is up on Patreon. But when I look back at it, I see I can glean out 3 things for you that will definitely give you better airmanship. And it got me thinking, what is good airmanship to begin with? It's kind of this abstract concept, although we throw it around all the time. That's bad airmanship, that's good airmanship. And I will not be able to answer in totality what that means here in this little video, but I will pull 3 things from my recent flight that if you add to your flying will add to the bucket of good airmanship. The first thing is, as much as possible, keep your head up and your eyes outside the airplane. You are piloting command. You want to be aware of everything that's happening around the airplane, whether or not you're rolling, whether there are trucks driving by, whether there are people walking by. You can see here when I'm still in the parking spot, I'm trying to keep my head up as much as possible, and a fuel truck drives by. Not a big deal, just something I should know about. You can see it again later in the run-up area when I'm holding the checklist up to as much as possible, keep my eyes outside the airplane and my head kind of on a swivel. All right, and again in flight, after the flow check is complete and I'm doing the checklist, as much as possible, I want my eyes outside the airplane. So, focusing on that, it's not something you can cram for. Focus on it, think about it, add it into your flying. Keep your head up and your eyes out as much as possible. Another thing that goes into the bucket of good airmanship is runway discipline. So make sure that you are using the entire length of the runway. There is nothing as useless as the runway behind you, and you don't ever want to feel the truth of that statement because you're running out of runway in front of you. So just use the whole runway every time. Also, make sure that you are fighting for the center line. I say fighting for it because you never want to give up. You want to go for the center line during the takeoff roll, and you want to go for the center line on landing, and you just don't want to give it up. You want to fight for it, so to speak. I'll practice finding that center line again. Always during taxi. It's a great time to kind of refresh yourself. What's the sight picture in this thing again? But I see it. It's just to the right of the baggage door up there. There's a nose baggage compartment with a hinge line. The yellow center line is coming through, or from my perspective, just to the right of that. All right, lastly, for good airmanship, make sure that you're not doing do lists in flight. The difference between a checklist and a do list: a checklist confirms something and is therefore redundant. A do list simply performs a list of actions that you do as you kind of go through a list of things, and it's very easy to skip a line and not notice it, so there is no check there. Now, when the engines are off, if you're starting the engines, especially in a complex airplane, feel free to do a do list. Nothing is going to explode if you do it in the wrong order, or if you skip a step. You might not get the engine started, but there's no foul, no harm. Gear lights, we see 3 green. Flaps go to 15. Notice though, when the engine is running, right? Everything is redundant after that. I'm doing flow checks, or I'm doing acronyms or mnemonic devices, and then checking things second with the checklist. And if you remember to kind of hold the checklist up, we tie all the way back to that first point of good airmanship, which is, as much as possible, keep your head up and your eyes outside the airplane. Cruise 010, that's not slaved up properly.
439 X-ray, that's reported. I'm 9 miles from this house for left traffic 25 Auburn.
010. Cruise checklist: throttles, props, mixtures, fuel pumps, cowl flaps. Forgot the cowl flaps. That's what I get. That's why I'm doing this. All right, if you want to see the complete flight, the entire proficiency flight, all my takeoffs and landings, and every little nuance of what I do, please visit patreon.com/learntfp. That support is really huge. Without that, I just couldn't continue to publish all these videos. So a huge thanks to the patrons. A big thanks to the sponsors. Remember that when you renew your AOPA membership, you should select Pilot Protection Services. Please leave a comment below if there's a video you want to see. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little alert bell so you get notified when we upload things. Share far and wide with your friends. And most importantly, until next time, be safe and fly your best.